Who is Uncle Nick? He's the uncle you wish you had. He's a cigar-smoking, aviator-wearing, liquor-loving punk. His own family won't take him anywhere because he's a walking megaphone of scathing opinion. Basically, he's a fictional version of Bad Popp. So buy Diary of a Misanthrope on Amazon today. The link is in the description.
It's Bad Popp here, showed up with some bad news. So pull up to the bar and get ready for your double shot of raw, unmitigated truth. Maybe, just maybe, you got drunk one night and stumbled into one of the 4 remaining bookstores in America. And if you have, you might know that there's a new book floating around out there. It's called Cheap Sex, The Transformation of Men, Marriage, and Monogamy. Written by a guy named Mark Mangina. Your name is Mark Gina. What kind of goddamn name is that? I can't even pronounce it. It's like the new Thor movie, Ragnarok, whatever the hell that is. Ragnarok roll, Scooby-Doo. Hey, men out there, if you haven't read the book, I'm gonna save you a hell of a lot of time. It's all our fault. No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys read the New York Post, because I don't. Fuck that shit. And you, Larry Gitland, it's all your goddamn fault that we have to read this article. So here you go.
Thanks to cheap sex, marriage may be doomed.
Hey, I'm not getting the doomed feeling, huh? Wow. Maybe it is true the sky is blue, water's wet, and gravity works in. Marriage is already doomed. Doomed. Also new on current events, OJ did it. Space Ghost.
That nigga did that shit.
The share of Americans ages 25 to 34 who are married dropped 13 percentage points from 2000 to 2014. A new book by sociologist Mark Mangina blames this declining rate on how easy it is for men to get off.
Called it. I told you they would blame it on us, and they did. There you go. So I have to ask you, Mr. Mark Mangina, what exactly is cheap sex? In my experience, either you pay for it up front or in the rear, but sooner or later, somebody's gonna get paid.
Mangina calls it cheap sex, an economic term meant to describe sex that has very little cost in terms of time or emotional investment, giving it little value.
Oh yeah. Swipe left. And what? There's some kind of patriarchal conspiracy to force these women to get on Tinder? In fact, if you meet a woman on Tinder, she's probably at the top of the dick pile. I don't think so. Swipe right again. Peg needle sloppy, kiss my ass. In case you didn't notice, I'm still waiting for you to explain how this is all my fault.
Mangina bases his ideas in part on the work of British social theorist Anthony Giddens, who argued that the pill isolated sex from marriage and children. Add online pornography and dating sites to the mix, and you don't even need relationships.
No, you don't. Total concur. Space Ghost.
Not now, honey, please. I'm right in the middle of a giant space war.
All right, Mr. Mark Mangina, you're highly educated and you have a degree in sociology. Maybe you should have spent more time in economics. Last time I checked, the time is, oh shit, you're fucked. We're all capitalists here in the Western world. At least in theory. Don't nuke me in the comments, I do have a point to make. In a capitalist system, there are 2 things that drive the market: supply and demand. So hypothetically, I can build a factory and make some double butt buttercups, and if nobody wants them, there's no demand. Now, you can flood the market with your porn and dating sites, but if it's just dudes, it's not going to be sustained. Because there's one party that no dude likes going to, and it's called the Sausage Fest. I can't tell how many times I've walked in the bar and went, hey, no, we're going to go down the street. Shocker! Without women, cheap sex does not exist. Still waiting. If you'd explain why it's all my fault.
The result is 2 overlapping but distinctive markets, one for sex and one for marriage, with a rather large territory in between comprised of significant relationships of varying commitment and duration.
You ever hear of a carpool? Well, that's a whore pool. Run silent, run deep, and don't you dare bury that pipe. I recall hitting the bullseye right above the butt crack in this one episode. Check it out. In today's culture, men and women have completely opposing life cycles. The older men get, the less they want to get married because they have way more to lose. And these women, when they get older, they definitely want to get married. And you know why? Because they have everything to gain. That is a classic example of anti-economics. You can't take a car right off the factory line, drive it for 100,000 miles, and then park it in the dealership and expect full retail. But that is what feminism of today is training these women to do.
Why can't I sleep with as many people as I want to without being judged?
These women are doing donuts in the Walmart parking lot. They're ramming shit up their tailpipe and getting axle grease on the spark plugs. How dare they drive that into the retail market and expect full value? I know you're thinking that 100 miles to the gallon is great. It's not. Check it out. These women are getting that pink pocket beat up like Rocky Balboa. And they think they're going to get married. But what they really get is a whistle sack.
In generations past, women generally made men wait until marriage to have sex. To get a wife, and therefore sex, men had to be clean and presentable and have a good job. This, mangina reasons, gave men all the motivation they needed to become respectable members of society.
Okay, I'll give you this one. That is valid. But there's a touche coming. I have to ask, besides waiting for sex, what has changed? Oh, I remember now. It's the women.
What the hell?
Listen, call us puritanical if you must, but those were the good old days, I'm just saying. Listen, couples who postpone sex until they get married are happier, and there's been studies conducted about it, links below. And there's additional studies that prove from 1940 today, women have become much unhappier. So basically, you have these women riding the cock carousel of the 21st century, and when the shit runs out, they want to go back and retire to the 19th century. You want to know what else goes back in time? Your sex life. Once a week, once a month, then it's just birthday and New Year's Eve, and then it's never. You become a master debater in your own basement. If you're doing that, you're doing it wrong. And this will continue until she's not happy, and then she flips back to the 21st century and takes it to the cleaners, bangs all your friends while you're paying for it. She wastituted your ass and left you holding the bag. This one's for you.
Now, with porn on demand and greater reproductive freedom, sex is a commodity available at any time. This has left men with little motivation for marriage.
Duh. It's still not our fault. Oh yeah, that reproductive freedom thing? Yeah, we don't have that. But women have it. In fact, they have all of it. But that's a separate issue. In fact, we made a whole episode about this called The War on Who. Check it out.
Mangina blames cheap sex for the decreasing education and employment rates among men as greater numbers of women get college degrees and enter the labor force. 6% more women than men in the 25 to 34 age group have a bachelor's degree.
And that number is gonna skyrocket because 2/3 of higher education degrees belong to women. Because women, they get grants, scholarships, affirmative action, the whole ball of wax, all because they have the golden vagina. But us guys, we'll be at the bar with our male privilege. By the way, we're still waiting for that too.
Mangina backs this theory up with a quote from social psychologists Roy Baumeister and Kathleen Vose, who study this phenomenon. Nowadays, young men can skip the wearying detour of getting education and career prospects to qualify for sex, they write. Sex has become free and easy. This is today's version of the opiate of the masses.
Let's get this straight. All sex would be rape, right? Because the way you describe this, women have no agency in this whatsoever. That reminds me of babies. Yeah, that's kind of sexist.
Bachelor Pad Economics is the financial advice Bible for men. From dating, to what to major in, to purchasing a home, to starting a business, to children and wife training, Bachelor Pad Economics is the wisdom you wish the father you never had gave you. A link is in the description.
Mangina argues that while women have maintained their role as sexual gatekeepers, men control the marriage market. And given the ease with which sex can be accessed, Mangina believes that men's motivations for marriage have all but disappeared.
I said this before and I'll say it again. Women get to decide who they can sleep with, but men decide who they marry. And that's the one thing we're not giving up. And to be frank about it, not in a gay way, it's the one thing we have left.
To plenty of women, it appears that men have a fear of commitment. But men on average are not afraid of commitment.
You're right. Men are not afraid of commitment. Myth busted. But what we are afraid of is getting raked through the goddamn coals by some feminist cunt in divorce court because she feels entitled to half my shit and a pussy payment for the rest of her life.
Because I have a vagina and I'm not happy. Wah.
She's a cunt. Even though that is all true, you're finally going to explain to me why it's all my fault, aren't you?
This leads women to settle, entering into doomed or otherwise unsatisfying marriages.
Boom! Low-hanging fruit. I will drink to that. So basically, your argument is threefold. Number one, women are giving away sex without any emotional attachments. And somehow, that's our fault for accepting it. Hey, you. No, not you. The guy behind you. Are you going to turn down free shit? If I pour you a shot, are you going to drink it?
You say yes!
Fault number two. These women have to settle for less in a marriage. And again, that's all our fault. And number three. When these women are unhappy and they want to get out of the marriage, it's all our fault. I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to drink this last shot and call bullshit on all of it.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
And now, I'm going to explain to you exactly why marriage is doomed. Oh, there it is. You hinted at it, but we're going to go directly into the reasons why men used to get married. Graphic up on the screen. Here's the list. They get married for sex, children, family, respect, authority, and power. Those are basically the 18th and 19th century marriages. And they worked. And why do I say that? Because we're still fucking here. And now let's fast forward to the third wave of feminism and let's guess exactly what they've done to that list. Sex, the number one reason for marriage, completely obliterated by marriage rape laws. Back in the day, when you got married, you basically signed up to have sex with just this guy, and it was assumed to be consensual. But now, she wants the new car, and you can't afford it because you're busy remodeling the kitchen and the bathroom. And she says last night was rape.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
And boom, you're in trouble. And this isn't like divorce court trouble. This is real trouble where you can wind up in prison and you better not drop the goddamn soap. And if you think that she needs evidence, you clearly have not been paying attention to the news lately. Reason number two, which is a byproduct of reason number one, children. Gone in the divorce. Once she decides she wants to cut away, 93% of you will only see your kids 4 days a month. And that's only if you're lucky. I hope you have a nice roomy car, like a Crown Vic, like me, creepy point, because you're going to be living in that fucker for a while. Reason number three, you want that big family, got it. But it's been destroyed by feminism and the government, and feminism set the Walton's house on fire, and the Partridge Family, and the Brady Bunch, those stupid motherfuckers. You know why the Brady Bunch is a bunch of bullshit? Because not one time in that show did you hear the
You're not my real dad.
roll up your sleeves, because it's on.
Dinner's ready. Oh, my nose.
But enough of that shit, back to my original point. Feminism, aided by the government to create the welfare state, has destroyed the nuclear family. Because when you reward a housewife for leaving her husband and taking the kids with a free check, again, you're going to drink that free beer, ain't you?
Yes!
Now, 51% of you are taking that free check right out of the gate. You're popping out kids and not even getting married. In some communities, that number is 73%. It just get dark in here? And we're moving on to number 4, which is respect. Gone, like Kaiser Sose. If you're a man, the media is going to portray you as a fucking idiot.
Look at this meatball. He's headed right towards me, showing me no respect. Well, if he wants to play chicken, this rooster ain't backing down.
When you step onto a college campus, you're looked at as a potential rapist. And you and every other swinging dick out there, you are a shining example of toxic masculinity, because I know I am. You think you can avoid this by getting married and having kids, but even that's on its way out. Because if the libtards get their way, there will be no more Father's Day. It'll just be Special Person Day. But Mother's Day is going to be untouched because women never lie, cheat, or steal, right? Wrong. Number 5, authority. You have none. And any authority that you think you might have had is gone, and you can thank the Duluth model and the yes means yes laws out there. As a dude, you might actually be the victim of domestic violence, but don't you dare call the police, because you're gonna get cuffed and stuffed, and there's no shelter for men.
Thank God you're here. I think she nicked an artery. I need to go to the hospital.
Mr. Popp, you're under arrest.
What?
One man out there tried to build one, and feminism harassed him and harangued him so viciously, he killed himself. You think you can avoid that by just banging chicks and never get married, huh? Silly rabbit. And thanks to the yes means yes laws, even if that act was fully consensual, you're still a rapist. And that brings us to the last one on this list, which is power. That is utterly and completely gone. It is smoke in the wind or fart out the window. And the younger generations of today and tomorrow, they'll never get a chance to develop that.
No, it's not true. That's impossible!
Well, back in the day, you used to derive a lot of power from having a big family. Well, feminism has destroyed that family and thus destroyed the power. In less than 100 years, feminism has basically emasculated our entire culture.
Mama!
Okay, let's recap this list. Sex, gone. Children, gone. Family destroyed. Respect, not getting it. Authority, please. And power, never had it. But you're still on the hook for a whole lot of shit. You still have to provide for that family. You're liable for that. And if you don't provide, you're labeled a deadbeat. Even if you do that, and you do it well, all she has to do is say 3 words, I'm not happy, and she cuts you away. So she takes half your shit, half your retirement, and the other half of your shit you have to sell to pay for the divorce, and you wind up living in a refrigerator box after you live in your car, which they repossessed. Oh, and I forgot, you still have to provide for those kids until they're 18 or 21 in some states, even if you don't see them anymore, and she can take them anywhere in the country or world for that matter, and you're powerless.
That is some sadistic bullshit.
To add insult to injury, you might have to make pussy payments to her for the rest of her natural-born life. You know what makes it worse? Is you never get to touch that pussy again. But you have to pay for it to be on the pill, so other men can.
Pop, don't let it go. X gon' give it to you. He gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to you.
And that, my friends, is why marriage is doomed. Oh shit, it really works. And it sure as shit is not our motherfucking fault. Because marriage, it's supposed to be a contract. Historically, it has been a contract because it benefits both parties. The man got the 6 things on the list, and the woman never really had to work again. So thanks to feminism and the government, there is exactly 0 benefit in marriage for men anymore. And cheap sex might have a little bit to do with it, but it sure as shit is not the root cause. Feminism has basically rigged the system to destroy men, and it has brainwashed these women to believe that they can run that odometer to 200,000 miles and still get full retail. Nobody is paying for that stinky, worn-out car, especially at 100 miles to the cum gallon.
I'd rather have a Sasquatch sit its ass on my face and shoot diarrhea down my throat. I'm dead fucking serious. What a shitload of fuck. What were they thinking?
I wouldn't go anywhere near that shit. I'd be like, you stay back. Oh, you like that? They call me Brad Pitstains. And with that, I'm done. In fact, I was done 10 years ago. Can you see the fork in my back? One more parting shot before I go. You guys always give me shit about what I'm drinking, especially you anti-Coors Light motherfuckers out there. If you want some say in what I'm drinking, send some money to Patreon and PayPal, and hell, we'll put your name on the bottle. I'm not gonna put the whole bottle in my mouth because I don't need any more homo suspicion points because I walk around between 7 and 9 because I drink foo-foo drinks. Remember, hit the subscribe button and the bell, and you might actually get a taste of that power you're missing. And if not, hell, this here is a good runner-up. So good. It's a new book called Cheap Sex and the Transformation of Men, Marriage, and Monogamy. Monogamy. Monomana. Okay, Mr. Mangina. Good one. Oh, that's thug life right there.
It's really fucked up.
Holy shit! Say that again. That is so fucking vicious.